Welcome back, everybody. Mike Wood here with Viper Sharp. So what's the deal with angles and angle markers? Is it important to have an angle marker on a precision system? Well, what I'd like to do today is show you why early on I decided it was not an important requirement. So let's take a look. So the first trick might be to get your level box to zero out, but get it as close to zero as possible. And then the next thing we need to look at is, let's get a stone on there. So the next thing we look at is the angle that we want. And so hopefully I'll demonstrate to you here why the most valuable thing for determining an angle is that right there. Because if we can put that on the edge, then we've marked our edge. And now we can adjust for the angle. So once we find our angle, and let's just say that this is going to be the angle that we want. So here we are now at 16.7 for our angle. Okay. So we've got it, right? We figured it out. We know what angle we want. We know what angle we are working with. And so why not have that marked right back here, right? This should say 16 degrees or 16.7 degrees right there, right? All right, well, I'll tell you why. And this was, like I say, early on when I was doing this research to build the Viper Sharp. This is one of the things that came to mind for me. And shut off on me. Turn that back on. All right. So now I haven't moved this, so we're still sitting at the same position, but we have a different blade out here. And now instead of 16.7, I've got 15.15. Well, what if that's not the knife that we're sharpening either? What if this is the knife that we're sharpening? Now we've got 18.5 degrees. So hopefully that helps you to understand and to see why angle markings, marking your position or angle is not necessary when you're using a system like this, because that angle is going to change based on the knife blade that you're putting in and how far that blade is away from the edge of the clamp. Now, I always recommend using a dry stone initially when you are working to find your angle, because if you need to reapply the marker, it works a lot better on a surface that doesn't have oil all over it. So this is why I like to just use a marker to find the angle. And you just keep adjusting that until you see the marker being removed all the way to the edge of the knife. And now we're getting pretty close to that. So yeah, if we look at that, bring that up here. So there you can see the marker, the black, is removed all the way to the very edge of the blade. And so now we know we've got the right angle. Always lock in your clamp. Forgot that. And so now we've got the right angle from tip to heel. Now we can move on to the stone that we want with a bit of oil on it and begin doing the sharpening. And the oil will clean that marker off real good. It'll also clean up all of the metal shavings and just help carry that away and keep a nice smooth movement to the sharpening. And what we're looking for is create a burr. Which we've got there most of the way. And if you touch up your knives frequently, you don't have to worry too much about reprofiling them all the time. So quick adjustment here and I was able to get this Kershaw back to nice and sharp. Flip that over. Apex this side. Listen for the burr as you hear me sharpen here. Hear that? And then that sound will change. As we take away the burr on that side, which of course will create a burr on the other side. So when you feel the burr on the other side, you know you've apexed. Now every pass is going to be just to remove that burr and clean up the edge. This is why I like to leave this loose, because it lets that movement stay nice and fluid. So here I'm just going against the blade. No pressure needed. In fact, if anything, I might be lifting up a little bit on that stone. Just let the stone do the work. That'll clean off the burr there. And flip it over to the other side. And we'll clean it off on that side, and then we'll give it one or two more passes here. Now that's working with the 600 grit. We'll set that aside and throw on the 1200, which is what I used earlier to determine that I was at the right angle. Get a bit of oil on that. Wipe most of it away. And just do those one direction cleanup strokes here. Now if you wanted to, you could create the burr again with the 1200 grit. Certainly not necessary. Take a couple more passes on this side here. Okay. Take a couple more passes on this side here. Okay. Now, depending on how sharp you like your knife and what you're planning on doing with it, that is probably enough to give you a nice sharp edge. And that's a nice curl there. And then, if you want to take it to the next level, okay. And then, if you want to take it to the next level, you could do a lapping film. Make sure that I don't have any oil on that, just to clean it up. Lapping, of course, you go only away from your spine, away from the knife. And how much of this? And how much of this you do is up to you. Really just depends on how polished you want that edge there. And some of that will be determined by the grit of lapping film that you're using. And I'm going to swap this one out. And that's still got some use in it. And I'm going to take it down to a one, actually, it's the 1 micron diamond, an older one. Lift up each time you're coming back so that you're not pushing that micro polishing film against the blade. That'll tear it up in a hurry. I'll give you a look at that. Angle with a Sharpie marker if you're trying to match the angle. If you want to get an exact angle on your blade, the only way to really do that is to use some sort of an angle cube. And this is all set up for that with this coated steel rod going in here. And so you can set that on there. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure and subscribe, like the video, and check out the next one when it comes. Have a great day.